All right, before we even hop into too much of anything here, I want to give a big personal shout out. On the off chance that Sjow or Tasia ever watch these VODs, you guys are seriously the nicest and the best, and I wish you both the best of luck, because you guys are a pleasure to talk with in the lobby. But spawning here in the lower left corner, actually, you know what, guys, if you've forgotten, you shouldn't have. It is, in fact, DreamHack Bucharest that Doom and I are casting. I am, of course, Rifkin. This is Base Trade TV, but now, spawning in the lower left corner of the map, playing for Team Property, sponsored by Broadband 2, the internet company. It is the Blue Terran player, Sjow.
His opponent, a tall order of a Korean Terran from Team Liquid, none other than former DreamHack champion, Taeja.
Yeah, this is actually kind of interesting. TVT's in a really weird spot right now. Mech is not viable in any matchup except this matchup. So it's kind of interesting to see. You've got players like Pulse, for example, or MMA, for example, who are players who typically play bio, but you'll sometimes see them play mech. I feel the same thing will happen for both Sjow and Tasia, where they're both very bio-capable players, and everyone has seen that time and time again, but mech, sometimes it just catches your opponent off guard if they're going bio, and that powerhouse that is mech can just sometimes drill you to victory.
Yeah, this seems like a decent map to go mech onto. The paths to your opponent's base are relatively short, so in terms of being distracted by a bio army that's trying to attack you, you may be able to actually cut it off before it's able to ever get around, depending on the metabank positioning, but the natural expansion can be assaulted by tanks behind these cliff lines here, which can be really annoying to a player who simply doesn't have the vision or the tanks to compete against that. So I know Tasia is pretty happy with going bio in this matchup, and most matchups too, so I'm pretty sure he'll stick to that type of
I'm almost certain Tasia will not go mech, but I'm just saying the potential is always there.
Yeah.
Anyone who's ever watched Tasia knows. Yeah. Well, I think too, like, for a lot of, not just like good Terran players, but specifically the Korean Terran players, like, you spend your whole Wings of Liberty career getting used to, dropping, doing multi-pronged attacks. It's really hard to make that quick swap to mech. But the one thing that's really interesting, regardless, you don't have to go mech to do it, but getting Hellions on the field early can be very deadly.
You know what? It could even be more deadly as a Widow Mines and Widow Mine drop, and that seems to be what Taeja may be going for down here to the southeastern portion of the map.
Oh, but unfortunately for him, Sjow's actually, he's reactoring out Reapers.
Wow, oh man, that is going to be brutal, especially if it's simply Marines in the main base, with no Widow Mines or anything to deflect against those Reapers. You really need like a bunker.
Like
to defend against them.
One Reaper, not that big of a threat. Two Reapers at a time, especially. Uh-oh, bit of a pause. Hopefully nothing's wrong. Hopefully, like, the power didn't go out once again at DreamHack or something. But yeah, I was going to say, one Reaper at a time, the DPS is low, it's not that big of a threat, but if you're pumping two at a time, suddenly, you're just slowly whittling away your opponent to the point where they can only produce one Marine at a time. Who cares if they wouldn't mind drop you, because you're going to kill all of their SCVs.
True. And I'm so excited for this game, Rifkin. I'm going to have so many new TVT builds after we watch this.
I love that he opened with a proxy. It's very bold, and it's really risky to do, but if you can pull it off... Well, yeah, and if you pull it off, Sjow's going to be on the defensive, like, mentally for the rest of the series.
And here we go. It's actually going to be a Tech Lab going down. So this seems like it may even just be proxy Banshees coming from Taeja in this situation. And Banshees are making a comeback, TVT.
Well, we'll see what happens. Two Reapers are going to get up here. They'll scout if nothing else. There are, of course, some Marines there. I got my finger over the first blood. We'll see if he actually gets it.
Boom. First blood.
Not a problem.
All right, so positioning here of the Reaper is going to be very important for Sjow. Doesn't want to get them trapped by those 5 Marines. They can handle them if they get them pinned to a corner.
But that's not an easy thing to do. Reapers are incredibly fast.
Yeah, and it's only going to be 5 Marines in the future,
but
too,
he
as
scouts.
the reactor's going down.
Well, the really critical thing is he scouted that there was nothing at home. There should have been a factory. There should have been a command center. There should have been an additional building in the main. And Sjow seeing none of that has got to be a little bit paranoid, a little bit on edge.
Especially with the 2 gases going down there. This is going to be a red flag for Sjow in and of itself. And,
the Reaper's looking. It's going to find... Oh, God. It might... I don't know. Does it have the DPS to kill? I think it's got the DPS to kill a Tech Lab. But, of course, the Banshee will come out before he kills it.
Banshee comes out, it'll just kill it.
Yeah, but with 5 Marines and another Reaper, that might be a different story.
Yeah, and if the Marines get underneath that Banshee before Cloak is finished, and, Taeja's not really prepared, and he's targeting down one of those Reapers, it could be devastating for the Korean Terran's opener here, and that Tech Lab has become the...
Oh, he's purposely hiding. Yeah, he's baiting the Banshee out. That is so cool. Not wanting his opponent to cancel it. Sjow, you crazy guy.
Taeja's kind of put on a decision here on what to do. Can't really make use of this Banshee, and meanwhile, turrets are going up in the main and in the natural. So Sjow's going to be prepared against any type of Banshees that do eventually come into his base. And what a great move there to go for the extra scouting with those Reapers. Definitely paying off and paying for themselves in that situation.
Yeah, the Viking's going to come out first, but of course, until it comes out, it's going to be a little bit irritating trying to deal with this Banshee. Cloak is not quite done yet, so Tasia has to be careful.
I think he's got it handled with this Widowmine, with this nice little composition of pure Marines coming through. Should be okay. Whoop.
Yeah, he's
good
like
cloak from Tasia though.
He's like reinforcing his starport with Marines. What the heck? But okay, gonna hide behind the turret. Definitely not gonna take too much damage on his mineral line, but of course he has to be careful of units transferring, like that SCV, like any errant Marines that come out in the field. That Viking could end this thing's life. He's dancing in and out of vision, though, so we see him taking some pepper from the Viking.
I'm kind of surprised that Sjow hasn't scanned once those Banshees move over top of those Widowmines, and one is
nice. Oh, he'll get the other one too. Oh no! Oh my god! And for those who don't know, if you go out of vision of detection and a missile's already coming in air, it actually jukes out the missile. So if Tasia was like 3 micro blocks, or however you want to measure StarCraft measurements, like if he was like just barely a little bit further, he would not have actually lost that second Banshee. So that was really close and really well done.
Had an awkward Mexican standoff down here between some Reapers and some Marines, but the Marines ended that one very quickly there.
They were chipping
not
away
able
at
to be
the
dropped.
I'm surprised he's sticking with the Banshees, though. He's seen what his opponent has. He knows there's a Viking on the field. I guess if he can keep the Banshees alive for the mid-game, they're great at picking off tanks. Like, actually, you can straight up lose a game just to Banshees if you're not prepared for it. But Sjow, well, I was going to say, he's going to be prepared for it. There's no doubting that.
Yeah, and it almost seems like Taeja is just trying to force this to work. Nice little pick off of that SCV, going to slow the production of that depot there. But, you know, looking back to each player's base, Taeja's gone for the 3 command centers, while Sjow is just content to stay on 2. So Taeja's really making a move to try to come back in the game by going for this triple mule style, trying to get his SCV count up there even at this point, but it's going to take off once Taeja starts getting that triple SCV production going. So it's going to be up to Sjow perhaps to try to make a move, try to make a push to deter Taeja from really advancing farther and taking that advantage farther in the game.
Well, it's really going to be huge as the Vikings, well, they're not exactly successful at picking off the Banshee right now. They're going to give that high ground vision. They're going to spot. They're going to snipe off medevacs. They're going to be absolutely critical for the tank army that Sjow will be sporting behind this.
Yeah, and he's got that barracks infrastructure here way better than Taeja's infrastructure, which is now only being added on. 2 barracks about halfway done, a third and I should say a 4th and a 5th just being added on now. And without the medevacs, without the the Vikings, this Banshee needs to be very careful.
Oh, it's gonna die.
For cloak.
Didn't matter. It was gone. The tanks are gonna come up here. It is 2 tanks to the 1 of Sjow. Sjow has to be a little bit careful.
Sjow's got the air superiority here, though, and that's very, very critical for these upcoming engagements.
It's so irritating that tanks have longer range than they can see. Like, who thought of that?
Oh, and this Banshee to the south is going to get picked off by this Widowmine.
Boom! Oh, nice hits. But of course, a bit of again, another standoff going on right now where neither player can really afford to advance. Tasia can't afford to push into the army of Sjow and take him out, and Sjow can't really afford to move up because he doesn't know how many or where the tanks are.
This is very true, and this is a great decision here from Sjow to do this kind of soft contain, preventing that 3rd base from coming over. It feels like he knows that is on the way for Taeja here, and whoa, good siege position here from Taeja.
Gonna force a fight for sure. A lot of the Marines do get splatted immediately for both players, but Sjow should be able to land the Vikings. Yeah, I was gonna say land the Vikings on top of the tanks. That will be enough to end this. Oh, and he's gonna drop the Marines on top of the last one, and there's nothing in that bunker right now, Doom.
Rifkin, how stressful has this got to be for Taeja in this situation? Looking at his production, it's completely stifled. He doesn't have the unit count. He's got 1 siege tank in the main base, but that means with the air superior there, is he in range of it?
He is in range of the tank in the main. Oh god, he's going to lose one of his tanks for sure here. And Taeja with 1 well-positioned tank suddenly goes from almost losing the game to holding off this push. SCVs are going to arrest that tank and send him straight to jail. But of course,
look at the reinforcements
the
here from Sjow. Big army coming forward, simply not what Taeja has. And now the SCVs are going to realize that the 3rd base has been dropped, and that's going to be the next point of contention here from Sjow in this game.
I kind of think that's worth it if it keeps him in the game, but Sjow's not going to be deterred by this. He's just going to drop right on top of the tanks in the main. Going to siege up, but it's not going to matter because he's got his own tanks unloading. Taeja actually picks up one of his tanks with some of the most intense micro I've seen, and he's going to try and hold on to this.
He's going to try his best pulling the SCVs to get on top of everything, try to draw the fire of those tanks into his friendly Marines, and this is just a bad situation overall for Taeja's losing more and more SCVs in this contest.
Yeah, Sjow is really putting on, well, no pun intended, a magnificent showing right now because he's doing so much damage to Tasia. Of course, neither tank can reach each other, but that new tank coming out will take out that tank, and suddenly Sjow has lost his control within the base of Tasia, but on the low ground, he is still pushing forward, and he's still supreming.
This is amazing play here from Sjow. Bomber once said that Sjow has Code S level Terran versus Terran, and he's showing it right here.
Yeah, this is actually really amazing. Still with the siege tanks, both players actually, like what's intense about this is nobody's snowballing over another. Sjow is definitely ahead. There's no disregarding that, but he can't quite push in enough to end the game, and that's what's so stressful for him. And again, that third base, it's mining comfortably. There's nothing here to oppose it.
Well, the issue is income completely in entirety. Sjow currently doubling the income of Taeja. Taeja now just going to pick that up, getting that base established, but a couple of Marines are going to come up here and try to have something to say about that. Targeting down SCVs, and they're going to be focusing down with drilling claws.
Again, another citizen's arrest made there on that Marine. But now, Tasia, you know, he's got 1-1 over his opponent, and suddenly his Marines will be superior in every way when it comes to just Marine fights. So there's no more dogfights for Sjow. He can't take those fights. He needs tank superiority, and his third base is up. Well, it's kind of awkward. It might be up later than Taesia's, but Tasia hasn't really been mining from the third base the whole time he's had it. These SCVs have been constantly fighting for their lives.
Taeja also threw away a lot of SCVs in that main base skirmish, but Taeja now with the unit upgrades, as you mentioned, Rifkin, may be able to take advantage of this, pushing forward towards Sjow.
Back, but oh, the Wintermine's going to go off on a lot of these Marines, and so much for that +1 armor.
All right. So this is a peculiar situation. 32 SCVs for Taeja, 58 for Sjow. Third base completely uncontested here for Sjow. He's going to be increasing his infrastructure with 2 factories in the main base. He's on 5 barracks currently. Actually, looks like he's only on 4 barracks currently.
I feel the need to point this out to him. Look at the workers killed.
Yes.
That's
a lot.
That's what
is this
Taeja
a
has on the field.
TVT or TVT?
It's more workers killed than Taeja has on the field. It's a bit rough to come back from that, but of course, because it's a mineral-based economy, the mules actually help with this quite significantly.
Yep. And I really think that advantage was taken from getting those 3 command centers up earlier than Sjow and getting enough SCVs to potentially cope with any type of attacks that came in. I guess Taeja was really banking on his micro to hold him up and keep him afloat in this engagement. But
I gotta be honest, when Sjow was coming in with that triple drop to the main, I thought it was over. The timing of the tank spawning from the factory, the positioning of his one in the main, like everything has been going.
He sacrificed a lot of SCVs to keep that hold going.
Yeah, yeah, like that was not it was not a perfect hold, but what's really critical is it kept him in the game.
All right, and Sjow's got his +1 attack, level 1 done. He started his level 2 quicker than Taeja, but Taeja's got 2-2 going up faster in its entirety.
Yeah, I want to point out too, Sjow does have a supply lead right now, but it's entirely in SCVs. Both players have a 71 to 67 army count, and in a TVT, that 5 supply difference is pretty negligible.
And, Taeja's really creeping up here onto Sjow with 53 SCVs. He's getting back in this game. He's got a bunker, going to protect the top.
Yeah, I love that he focused on the medevac first. That was a really great move on his part, but SCVs will prevail once again. None of these guys really have any health on them, though.
That was such a monster tank blast, right? In those 2 Marine spaces.
Like, the SC is actually so low that that's actually kind of dangerous. Taeja might kill more of his own workers if he's not careful.
Yeah, that is a good point to make there. And there's another drop going from Sjow to the north. Looking at his actual base here, he set up a really nice tank line. Sjow was one of the first streamers I ever watched in StarCraft 2, Rifkin, and he's always had fantastic tank lines and amazing patience when under pressure. So he's going to have to use that to try to keep this lead in the game and try to press it forward. He's going for +2 vehicle weapons upgrade. Just want to point that out. I don't think Taeja's gotten that at all yet in this game.
Yeah, it's going to add so much to the splash damage. We got another drop coming in here. The first one was deterred. The bunker still stands, but it's not in range of the medevac this time.
And this is pure distraction tactics as he's going to try to do as much damage, pull Taeja's army out of position, and then run through with a massive tank Marine composition. Looking at the army supplies, 109 for Sjow, 87 for Taeja.
And actually, Taeja is going to have a hard time cleaning up this drop. He's losing a lot of SCVs, and meanwhile, the tank count is 2-1 in the favor of Sjow. So Taeja, he's going to be... Oh, this is going to be so rough for him, Doom.
I wouldn't be shocked to see him just try to stim forward and take everything down, but here we go.
There's the aggressive siege up. Several tanks now sieging up behind this. Marine lines are canceling one another up, but Taeja loses all of his Marines. Actually, no, he doesn't. He lifts them up, and he drops them on top of the tanks. Taeja will break the attack of Sjow.
Amazing cost efficiency there from Taeja, faced with the upgrade disadvantage and the tanks having +1 there, just completely breaking the lines though. In the meantime, Sjow is getting a drop into the main base, taking out a lot of SCVs with just a handful of Marines.
But again, despite how many SCVs have been lost this game, Tasia is not too far behind, 66 to 53, and he has lost 58 workers over the course of this game. I cannot believe. Is Tasia a magician? What is happening here?
He's a Korean Terran, Rifkin.
So
you can never count him out.
So he's a magician. He's a black magician is what you're telling me too. Like, this is black magic sorcery he's dabbling in to be able to stay in like this. Sjow, it's not like he's making these mistakes. Tasia's just making the critical moves at the right moments. Like that pickup in those medevacs, I thought all the Marines died, but instead that was amazing, dropping them top of the tanks. Look at the resources lost. Almost dead even as well. This is so crazy. This is why we fought for this matchup, guys. This is why we needed to watch Sjow versus Tasia.
It's going to get wild. And you mentioned that those SCVs at the top were weakened in health. Looks like Taeja actually healed them up in the process. Going to do a small drop here. Going to actually drop the tank.
Goes down.
That base. And looking at the overall supplies, look at Show's lead, 171 to 133. It's no longer just a worker supply count. Army supplies, 114 for Sjow, 75 in total for Taeja. But Taeja's being so cost efficient with his units. He's got the +3/+3 generally quicker than Sjow does. So if he can take advantage of that before it gets to that even playing field later in the game, he could potentially take the game. But
something really critical here. Look at these medevacs. They're so low. He can't pull off that same pickup and drop tactic that he did before, or he'll lose everything before it even drops out of the medevac.
True, and Show's establishing a fourth base to the northwestern portion of the map. This is looking pretty grim for Taeja here, especially considering the sensor tower has kept all aggression at that third base position at bay. Show's actually on 5 command centers at this point too, Rifkin.
I can't believe Taeja's been in this as long as he has. He's broken every attack so far. I wouldn't be surprised to see him do it again, but the reality is every time he holds, he still ends up being slightly further behind.
Yeah, it almost feels like he's really out of his comfort zone. Usually Taeja's the one pushing the bases. Usually he's dropping so many mules across the field, but he's really just put into this defensive posture, really just clinging to hoping the fact that he gets those 3/3 upgrades finished.
Man, this is wild and exciting, and I don't care if anyone thinks TVT's boring. You're nuts.
This is DreamHack, baby.
Yeah, Siege Tank's now coming across the field to traverse the middle of the map. Of course, Taeja, without any real map control, doesn't really know too much of what's going on. I like that he's got Marines positioned on each side so he knows where his opponent will be coming from, but I mean, that only gives you so much of an advantage. Again, the tank count is 12 to 10, 78 to 68 Marines, but Taeja gets on top of Show's tanks before they siege and gets out!
Did you see the blast of rifles and helmets that just came from that shot from Sjow?
Oh god, dude, a drop going into the natural. Taeja's already on this, so he's sending some Marines in to defend against this.
The biggest and most critical part of this engage is the fact that these tanks have +2 attack weapons upgrades for Sjow, and they are decimating the Marines every time they come into range.
Taeja cleans up the drop, though. Sjow just cannot catch him off guard, no matter how hard he tries. But again, another base coming out of Sjow. Gonna put him on 5 bases, while Taeja's still stuck on 3.
This looks like a TVZ the way Sjow is playing here. He's doing it all on like 117 APM too, adding on more and more command centers at home. His infrastructure back at home is up to looks like about 8 barracks in the main base.
If Taeja had 1 Viking on the field right now, he could start taking a big advantage in this weird tank standoff because he can start sniping off the medevacs. But same goes for Sjow. But neither player with any real anti-air, they're forced to fight around scans. And every time you scan, that's a lot of resources lost. And for someone like Taeja, he can't afford to be making those scans.
True. For Taeja, it's a big disadvantage. For Sjow, not even a factor. 2,600 minerals in the bank. He's continuing to add on more and more command centers.
Look at that
Taeja did just find the base to the lower right-hand corner of the map, though, so that's going to be a good pick-off for him. But
drop in the natural. Yeah,
doing a lot of damage.
Constantly, Taeja has to keep remaking his SCVs. 64 workers killed now in this game.
And the command center falls. Taeja gets out there with the drop in time as well, preserving his units. Great move from him in this game, in this situation. He's really just trying to get to that maxed out army and trying to say, let's take a battle, dude.
Show's taking building armor in a TVT. I love this. This kind of seems trolly and like a joke, but it makes the planetary so much stronger.
Yeah, and once we get to a situation where he's able to establish
those medevacs! Those medevacs just barely dodged the scan, I think. I don't know if Sjow saw those leaving, but of course he catches them in the middle of the map anyways.
That's why Taeja has 268 APM in this game. He's able to recognize everything that's going on the map at every single moment of time.
Trying like 350 there for a moment, dude. This is ridiculous.
268 average. Think about that.
Yeah, that is...
Let that blow your mind for a second. You know,
that's... I can't believe... Like, I'm sitting there and I'm watching, I'm like, Sjow should just, like, win, is, like, my mindset. But Taeja is deserving the fact that he's still in this game. He's been making the right moves all along.
Yeah, he's got a maxed out. He's got a maxed out army. He's actually got a greater army supply since he has a lesser worker supply.
Oh, but those tanks are out of position.
Sjow
He's got to be
stemming in.
careful. The tanks are completely out of position. Planetary Fortress, though, will pay a huge effect in this fight. The Marines are trying to dodge away from it.
They're barely in range of the planetary. I'm not sure if he can focus that down due to the amount of SCVs over there, but great move from Sjow, going to pick up and fall back.
Yeah, meanwhile, Medevac going to try and load on top of the tanks. Perhaps a bit of a mistake. Unsieging immediately to make sure that doesn't happen, but that triggers the stim forward from Tasia. But meanwhile, a drop here in the southern part of the map. There's nothing here to defend except for 3 tanks. There's a lot of Marines, and there's a Medevac here. Oh, picks up. He's probably going to boost over to the main, I imagine. Yeah, going to boost right on into the main. And again, nothing here can pick up. And Sjow suddenly realizes he has to go back home. If Tasia catches him out of position for even a second, Sjow could lose all of his tanks.
Sjow tried to drop to the top of the map here into Taeja's what was his third base, but he was picked off by a handful of Marines here. The +3 weapons attack for the tanks is complete for Sjow. Wait, no, it got canceled. Did the armory just fall? That was researching it? It did?
Yep. Just barely. It was like 5 seconds away, too.
Wow, that is so important in the game, Ripken, because
Suddenly,
Taeja's +2
he's
is
gonna catch
about
up?
3/4 of the way done.
Yeah, he's finally going to catch up in tech. Taeja's just been fighting from like a disadvantage this entire game and been keeping toe-to-toe with Sjow. Whoa, that rhymed.
It definitely did rhyme. You're a poet, and you did not even realize that you were a poet, Ripken.
Thank you for not doing the cheesy one, but this one of mine from earlier is still standing. 7 kills on it. Gotta soften up those tanks and all the Marines.
Oh, but a sticky situation here because these tanks could potentially take down this planetary fortress, and if not, he's going to be forced to pull them. And
But
not
meanwhile,
get time.
big push here on the right side of the map as well. I don't think the tanks can hold this for Tasia, though. There's so many Marines on the ground. The planetary, of course, cannot contend with the tanks afterwards.
Oh, but the planetary did stop getting healing by Sjow. And actually, the tank's going to make that drop, but he's got plenty of command centers back at home. Not the biggest deal in the world. It's a much bigger situation here for Tasia, who really needs to hang on with this third base.
Yeah, he needs this mining so critically more than
Fourth
Sjow
base.
does. Again, that's... Both players have so much gas in the bank, too. I just want to throw that out there. But,
Yeah,
oh
wow.
my god.
And Sjow has managed to spend that entire 2,500 minerals, and that is his huge advantage. 13 Marines being built at a time, but not really a whole lot of mining going
Tasia,
for him at this point.
There's so many SCVs up here, and he's going to ignore all of them. He's just going to go for the production. I love this move, because who cares about the SCVs? Your opponent he's already got more than you anyways, so you're not going to catch up by killing them.
Yeah, and I think Taeja says that he's got better control in these engagements, so he thinks that he can, as long as he can get down the production facilities, he may be able to just suffocate Sjow. There's literally no mining going on for Sjow at this point. 60 minerals per minute.
Or for Tasia.
But for Taeja, it's the same
Yeah,
situation.
he just retreated all of his SCVs, every single one to the south, and he's got no, well, even if you drop mules, there's no minerals here to drop them upon. Both players are in a very desperate situation right now because there's just no mining going on anywhere.
Yeah, Taeja recognizing that, going to join his 2 armies together. Sjow still looks like he wants to try to
Oh god,
find
the
out what's going
SCVs.
on around that. He's going to find the SCVs.
Oh, he's got to retreat them out. They're going to get slaughtered too. This is... I can't believe this is...
conga line.
I can't believe 3 bases are mined out for both players. This is insanity. But of course, that burning command center actually lands, and he can start mining again. Oh, so many mules coming down. We're going to see the economy here shoot through the sky for Sjow. Meanwhile, Tasia trying to take that upper left corner map, part of the map. He's got to defend that, but of course...
Going to get scouted.
Yeah, and it's so close to Show's base, it's not going to be easy. Wow, almost 3k resources per second.
That's a beautiful move there from Sjow. That Rifkin, this could be the most critical point in this game. Taja's going to scan forward, going to see the fact that the tanks are moving there.
Oh, he
Standing
catches
with the
them
Marines
out of
on top the
position.
tanks for they stage up.
Oh my god, dude, this is huge. Tasia's going to crush the army of Sjow, and Sjow does not have the economy to replace this just yet. He just got a big boon of resources, but the production's only just started.
Oh, a huge mistake from Sjow. They're not taking that back round, instead taking the forward round with his entirety of his army, and it's going to get completely swallowed up by Taja's.
And Tasia, meanwhile, has reestablished that right side part of the map. So actually, he's up an entire base on Sjow right now.
My, how the tides have turned in this game, Rifkin.
I cannot even believe what we're watching, Doom.
This fourth base from Sjow is going to mine out so quickly with all these Marines going, and he
But
really
a big
doesn't have
stim
enough to
forward,
defend
he's just
here.
going to move
Marines
upon the
stemming
tanks. Tasia actually loses most of his Marines initially. He's got to keep those tanks alive, though, or he's got no way to deal with the planetary fortress.
Well, now is the time where he can probably move into the production facilities, but he doesn't recognize that. He's really just going to say, I want to kill your economy, and I want to kill it right now.
You know, I feel like a lot of this comes down to the fact that he didn't kill those SCVs earlier. All of those SCVs that are at this base are the same ones that lived earlier through that initial assault.
We're going to heal up. Sjow moving in from 2 angles here on top of Taja's army.
Tanks
Wait
as
a
well.
minute here, Rifkin.
He's going to break Tasia. I don't know how or why, but he's going to break Tasia, who's in such a good position. And Tasia actually has nothing to defend the upper left corner.
He's 0 tanks in the field for Tasia right now.
It's only a planetary fortress as well. He will slowly lose this base.
Oh, and Sjow taking the right route this time, going up
Tasia
the northwestern portion of the map.
He's coming with some Marines, dude, and there's not a lot here. He could drop on top of those tanks.
Oh, and while the tanks are focused firing down the planetary, he may have an opportunity to stem in and try to take him out. More and more reinforcements are coming across the field for Taeja, but the same is happening for Sjow in this game.
Oh man, this is going to come down to a big battle, but again, like you said, they're focusing fire. This is planetary still. Shoot the Marines! Sjow, what are you doing? Oh my god, Sjow with a big mistake like that. Well, actually, he might still clean this up, but albeit just barely. Taeja with his own tanks coming across the field, but again, Sjow with just a little more Marines should be able to push Taeja back.
Oh, this is completely balanced on the pin of a needle, Rifkin, and Sjow saying, screw your base up there, I'm just going to go for your army. If I can kill the standing army, you might have a better shot in this game, and... Oh man, big stem forward here for Sjow.
Sjow's got double the Marines. The tank count is pretty even, but again, a bad engagement doesn't matter about your Marine count. Oh,
He's got Marines up in the bunker right now.
Such an aggressive stim takes out the tanks of Sjow and the medevac that picked it up. And that upper left base still has not gone down.
Nope. But it's going to become the new point of contention in the game. Taeja's base to the lower eastern portion of the map, though, has been mining throughout all of this, Rifkin, so that's a very important thing to note.
But so has Sjow's in the bottom right, that planetary, or that orbital.
Now going to be scouted out by Taeja.
Okay, well, Marines are going to go down. Not in vain, though. They do get that planetary in the top left, and through what I can only best describe as insanity, both of these players are still in this game, and they're playing strong.
Sjow and Taeja are going to trade Marines here to the upper left-hand corner of the map. Meanwhile, Show's going to try to see and try to figure out what Taeja's doing. He is going to see the fact that fourth base has been established as a planetary fortress there, and his entire army is going to move that direction.
4 tanks to 2, 26 Marines to 47. But these numbers have interchanged so often in the last 5 minutes, you really can't just decide someone's going to win this game on numbers. As we've seen, positioning, catching your opponent unsieged, all of these things are so critical in this matchup.
I think patience is going to rule the day here for both of these players. Whoever can take the better engagement, whoever can be more cost efficient, will be walking away with the victory. And this is so critical in Group Stage 2. Both players currently have won their initial series, so...
Something really worth mentioning here is Taeja. Thank you, chat guy. I didn't even catch this. Taeja has 7 medevacs. Sjow has none. Every time Sjow stims, it's going to make his armor significantly weaker.
Wow, that is a critical point to mention here. And it's going to make Taeja's units more cost efficient, which could lead him to the victory. But if all the Marines die, well, they won't be that useful.
Yeah, then you won't have anything to heal. But if he can get a good position on the siege tanks, he can start dropping, and Sjow cannot respond to this. But okay, a big awkward fight on the ramp here. Again, the massive Marine count of Sjow looking like it's going to prevail, but the siege tanks of Taeja are perhaps a little too good. Neither player can go across the middle part here. It's like a tug-of-war. Oh my god.
It's such a weird positioning for that tank for Sjow there at the bottom of the ramp on the other side. It's such an awkward hill because it just kind of dips up there between the two players. Scans are going to become critically important, but also mules will be as well.
Oh,
and
Taeja. He takes out the siege tank, but there's still so many more Marines here, but of course they cannot push into the siege tanks of Taeja. Of course, this base from Sjow is his life. If he loses this base, he might be losing the game. He's got a command center building in the top left, but even so, this is where all of his SCVs are.
Taeja's saying, screw it, I'm not going for the corners, I'm going for the middle and taking the gold.
Again with some pretty good siege tanks clutchily coming out of nowhere, but oh, the Marines coming from behind, what are they doing?
Bad rally point for Sjow right there, but it has done enough distractions that the siege tanks maybe not be able to take out the Marines at the stem forward, but Sjow's going to continue to pull back.
God, this one Marine. Again, Taeja, how many citizens arrests has he made this game? He's killed tanks, he's killed Marines. These SCVs have been the unsung heroes of this TVT.
As long as Sjow can continue to posture and defend this base a little right, it seems like he should change his rally points to the center of the map and try to take down that base.
I think Sjow's going to hold this again, though. This is... I can't. This is so down to the wire. Sjow is slowly bleeding out more than his opponent, though. Tasia, who looked like he was going to be out of this game at minute 12, is still fighting hard at 40 minutes of the game. And honest to God, it looks like it might go in his favor. Now, this Marine in the middle of the map actually was not completely arrested. It looks like he broke out of jail with 3 health because he's killing a lot of SCVs. 5 SCV kills on this single Marine. This guy is a hero on the gold base.
And Sjow having to drop up into his base there. It is burning down by a tank shell fire. If he can get the vision away from Taeja, he may be able to defend this slightly longer, but
the middle's been stripped clean. Taeja no longer has that gold base operating.
And up to the upper left of the map, Sjow is actually established a planetary fortress. This lower right-hand map isn't as important anymore, but Taeja thinks it is. He's going to stem forward to try to take it on the units.
Oh, Sjow should not continue stemming forward either. He should really back out of this.
He needed to pull the SCVs into that engagement, then pull the Marines behind that. May have been able to clean up some, but the Marines are continuing to run to their deaths.
Doom, I gotta be honest with you, my butthole has been clenched for the last 10 minutes in this game, and I don't know when it's gonna stop, because this has been so intense between both these players. Sjow and Tasia put on the best show in a TVT I've seen in a long time.
Thanks for that visual, Rifkin. 41 minutes in, and we still don't know who's going to be the victor in this game. Sjow going to take out this sensor tower.
Oh god, but there's a planetary here! This is a planetary. The Siege Tanks have the high ground advantage. Now, of course, the medevacs can see this, but it doesn't matter. Oh god, the Marine's lifting up on top of this. Good game is called. Tasia finally gives in. Sjow will take the victory!
Oh, wow. How does that happen?
I don't know.
How does Sjow continue to show up to these tournaments and take down Korean Terran players? It just blows my mind, man.
That was only game 1, which is the really critical point, guys. It's a best of 3, so anything could happen.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. If you have not told your friends about this game, get on the Twitterverse, get on the Redditverse, get on Team Liquid, let them know Sjow is once again trying to make a run in this tournament, and he's taking down Taeja in the process. Woo!
All right,
That's
well, guys,
just the first game, too, Rifkin.
Yeah,
That's just the first game.
I couldn't